Open Book Chapter 6, Sword Illusion Realm, Baptism of Blades. Subsection 1. The realm opens a world of sword chi. The vast training valley trembled. Ancient bells echoed across the mountains, each chime like a blade drawn from its sheath. The sound cut through the mist, vibrating in the bones of every disciple gathered below. Clouds swirled in chaotic spirals, as if the heavens themselves bent to the presence of something greater. Upon the cliff's edge stood the Sword Illusion Gate, a colossal stone arch carved with runes that glowed faintly silver. The carvings depicted swords rising from mountains, piercing skies, slaying dragons, and splitting seas. The gate was not merely a door, but a legacy of the sword Tao, left behind by an ancient sword sovereign whose name had long been buried in history. When the first rays of dawn struck the arch, the runes blazed to life. A grinding sound like mountains shifting rumbled out as the gate's inner circle rotated. Stone dust rained down, glittering like diamond dust in the morning light. The air thickened instantly. Then it came. Sword chi. Not ordinary sword chi, but primordial essence that had once cut gods and demons alike. It poured out from the gate like an invisible tide, pressing against every disciple present. The weaker ones immediately staggered back, coughing blood as invisible blades sliced into their meridians. Some dropped to their knees, clutching their chests as if pierced through. It's too strong. I can't even breathe. This is only the aura leaking out. Then inside must be. Their words dissolved into silence. No one dared to finish the thought. Only a few stood tall against that tide. Among them, Tian. His robe fluttered slightly under the oppressive pressure, but his expression remained calm. His black hair danced with the wind, eyes reflecting the silver glow of the runes. While others trembled as though facing death, he looked as though he was gazing into the dawn of a new path. Inside his chest, his heartbeat steadied, slow, powerful, each thump like a war drum of destiny. At that moment, a faint flicker appeared before his eyes. System status, pre-entry scan. Host, Tian. Cultivation, body refinement realm peak. Spirit energy, 100%. Sword comprehension, 14% beginner. Body condition, stable. Meridians, unblocked. Hidden potential, extreme sealed. Unique trait detected, adaptive sword insight. Passive, can observe, deconstruct, and replicate sword techniques. Ding. Warning, sword illusion realm detected, threat level extreme. Chance of death, 82% average cultivator. Recommended, enter only if will is unbreakable. Tian's lips curved faintly. 82% chance of death. For them, maybe. For me, this will be a forge. Subsection 2. Disciples falter the divide of talent. Around him, whispers spread. Look at him, Tian doesn't even flinch. Wasn't he the trash disciple who couldn't absorb spiritual energy before? How? Trash, you fool, do you not see? Only those who defy heaven can stand so calmly here. Envy, awe, fear, countless emotions filled the air. The sword illusion realm had not yet even opened fully, yet it had already drawn a line. Those who could step forward, and those who would forever remain behind. One elder overseeing the trial narrowed his eyes. His long beard swayed gently in the breeze as he muttered. That boy, something about him is different. His presence is quiet, but the sword chi flows around him as though acknowledging him. Another elder scoffed. Coincidence. He may stand tall now, but once inside, even the greatest prodigies bleed. The sword illusion realm spares no one. The first elder shook his head. No, not this boy. He has the eyes of one who has seen through life and death. As the debate rose among elders, the disciples continued to collapse. Out of the hundreds who had gathered, only 30 remained standing. Their faces pale, robes soaked with sweat, yet their eyes burned with determination. These were the ones permitted to step through the gate. Tian glanced sideways at them. Some were known geniuses, ranked among the sect's top 10. Others were unknown but fierce, their wills unyielding despite their trembling bodies. Still, in Yi Tian's eyes, they were all stepping stones. Subsection 3. The step beyond, entering the sword illusion realm. The stone arch roared as the inner circle completed its rotation. A gap of pure silver light opened within the frame, swirling like a vertical pool. From its depths, the sound of swords clashing endlessly echoed, clang, 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 as though an eternal battlefield lay within. The air itself vibrated. Invisible blades howled across the valley, carving deep lines into the ground. Grass withered instantly, reduced to dust. Birds fleeing overhead were sliced apart, leaving only drifting feathers. The elders raised their hands, forming protective barriers around the spectators. Even from a distance, they dared not let the raw leakage of the realm touch ordinary disciples. One elder's voice boomed. The sword illusion realm has opened. Those who have the courage step forward. Remember, within lies endless trials. Each sword you face is a question. Will you submit or will you defy? Only those who defy to the end may return with enlightenment. His words rolled like thunder. The 30 chosen stepped forward. Each step echoed heavy in the silent valley. Sweat dripped, fists clenched, eyes locked onto the gate. Some muttered prayers, others bit their lips until they bled. Yi Tian walked among them, his steps neither hurried nor slow. He did not pray. He did not tremble. He only gazed ahead as though destiny itself had carved this path for him. As he reached the threshold, the silver light licked across his skin. A coldness sharper than steel crawled through his veins. His vision warped, the outside world collapsing into nothingness. System log, entering illusional dimension. Calibrating host consciousness. Stabilizing meridian flow. Sword chi density, 100x external world. Illusion construct level, true realm, legacy of sword sovereign. Warning, host's cultivation base insufficient for natural survival. Activating adaptive sword insight compatibility. Success. Ding. Sword illusion realm trial initiated. Objective, survive, comprehend, defy. The moment Yi Tian stepped through, the world inverted. Darkness. Then light. A vast plain stretched endlessly, every blade of grass formed from sword chi. The sky was split with silver scars, each one a sword mark carved by battles of eternity. Mountains floated in the distance, their peaks shaped like unsheathed blades. Rivers ran with liquid light, shimmering like molten steel. And there, suspended in the center of this realm, countless phantom swords floated, millions, billions, each vibrating softly, whispering like ancient spirits. The sound of their resonance filled the air like a hymn of steel. Yi Tian's breath slowed. His eyes widened slightly, not from fear but from awe. This is the true ocean of the Sword Tao. System status, upon entry. Environment, Sword Illusion Realm, Phase 1. Pressure, 500% of host tolerance, mitigated by adaptive sword insight. Spirit energy drain, 0.2% per second. Illusory constructs, sword phantoms infinite. Mission, endure first wave. The realm trembled. From the horizon, the first wave came. 1,000 phantom swords streaked through the air, their edges blazing with killing intent. They roared down like a storm of meteors, aiming to cut him apart before he could even raise his hand. Yi Tian's eyes sharpened, his body moved. And thus, the baptism of blades began. Chapter 7, Duel Against the Phantom Swordsman. 1. The colossal challenger appears. The world held its breath. The phantom swordsman, a towering figure wreathed in sword chi, descended fully onto the sword testing platform. His body was formed entirely from light and killing intent, yet his presence was heavier than mountains. Each step he took shook the platform, sending cracks across the stone. His eyes, sharp as twin suns of sword light, locked solely onto Yi Tian. The other disciples were ignored. To the swordsman, only Yi Tian existed. 2. Crushing sword intent. Boom. Without lifting his sword, the phantom's aura alone pressed down like a tidal wave. Dozens of surviving disciples coughed blood, collapsing to the ground, unable to withstand the intent. Yi Tian's body trembled. His bones creaked, blood seeped from old wounds, and his vision darkened. Warning. Host is under heavy sword intense suppression. Mental strain, 76%. Body strain, 63%. And yet, he did not kneel. 3. Yi Tian's unyielding gaze. Yi Tian tightened his grip on his battered sword. His lips curled into a faint smile despite the blood running down his chin. So even a phantom dares to test me, then come. His voice was low but steady, cutting through the storm of sword intent. 4. The first exchange. The colossal phantom raised its titanic blade. With one swing, the heavens themselves split apart. Shua. The slash wasn't just a strike. It was a world-ending calamity, a sword that could sever mountains, rivers, even fate itself. Yi Tian's system blared. Incoming attack detected. Sword pattern, heaven-cleaving annihilation. Predictive counterpath, 0.2% success rate. Still, Yi Tian moved. He swung his worn sword upward, channeling every copied technique he had gathered, his blade tracing arcs like flowing water. Clang. The ground shattered beneath his feet. His arms nearly tore apart from the force, yet he blocked it. 5 system notification. Sword comprehension plus 5%. Sword comprehension plus 5%. Current level, 30% intermediate realm. The clash carved enlightenment deeper into his soul. Sparks of understanding bloomed in his mind. Every strike from the phantom wasn't death, but teaching. This trial, it wants me to rise. 6 disciples in awe. The onlookers, still conscious, stared wide-eyed. That's impossible, one muttered. Even senior brother Liu couldn't last a single blow. Yi Tian, wasn't he called trash? How can trash face that monster head-on? They trembled as they watched the boy they once scorned defy a phantom, born of the sword Tao itself. 7 inner realm, sword and will. Once again, Yi Tian's mind was dragged into his inner realm. The void returned. The colossal sword still hung in the darkness, but now, faint lines appeared in the air, forming sword paths. Each line represented a trajectory, a truth of the sword Tao. Yi Tian's soul resonated. His hand traced the glowing paths, and in an instant his comprehension deepened. 8. Second exchange, sword of silence. Back in reality, the phantom moved again. This time its blade did not roar, it whispered. A silent cut, without sound, without light, as if the very concept of a strike had been erased. Yi Tian's eyes widened. New sword pattern detected, sword of silence. Replication difficulty, extreme. Risk of death, 97%. Yet his instinct screamed, swing now. He thrust his sword forward. Ding. The 2 blades met, not with thunder but with silence. The entire platform froze. Even the air refused to move. Then boom. A delayed shockwave erupted, blasting hundreds of meters outward. 9. Breakthrough under pressure. The clash nearly destroyed his body, but in the aftermath, Yi Tian laughed through blood-stained lips. Ding. Sword comprehension, 50% advanced realm. Half the mysteries of the sword Tao now danced at his fingertips. His strikes grew sharper, smoother, filled with intent. The phantom swordsman tilted its massive head, almost as if acknowledging him. 10. The turning tide. Now Yi Tian pressed forward. His sword, once dull, now glowed faintly with silver light. Each slash he unleashed resonated with the phantom blades that had once oppressed him. For the first time, the colossal swordsman was pushed back a step. The disciples gasped in unison. He's fighting it evenly. 11. Final clash preparation. The phantom swordsman's aura surged violently. Sword chi condensed, wrapping around its titanic blade until it seemed to hold a piece of the sky itself. Yi Tian's system chimed rapidly. Warning, catastrophic strike imminent. Replication impossible. Only option, surpass limits. Tian inhaled deeply, eyes blazing. His body was broken, blood flowing freely, but his will was unshakable. 12. Cliffhanger ending, the sword heart awakens. As the phantom raised its final strike, Tian's heart suddenly pulsed with golden light. Thump, thump. A new notification appeared, different from the others. Sword heart awakening. Progress, 1%. Tian's surroundings shifted. He stood no longer on the sword testing platform, but in a realm where swords grew like forests, where every leaf was a blade, and every breath was a cut. The phantom's strike descended. Tian roared, lifting his sword to meet it head-on. Clang. Light swallowed the world. End of Chapter 7. Chapter 8, The Core of Blades, Golden Core Breakthrough. 1. After the sword storm. The battlefield was drenched in blood. The last echoes of the phantom sword's descent faded, leaving only shattered stone and broken disciples sprawled across the platform. Most could no longer stand, their bodies trembling from exhaustion and injury. Tian stood among them, his robes torn, his skin lacerated with countless cuts. Blood dripped steadily from his wounds, pooling beneath his feet, yet his eyes blazed with fire. Every drop of blood spilled was not weakness. It was comprehension carved into his bones. 2 system logs, sword intent growth. Chimes echoed in his mind, sharp and relentless. System log. Sword intent, 28% right arrow, 32% right arrow, 38%. Current level, approaching advanced threshold. Host condition, critical blood loss, severe /spirit, 17%. Tian's lips curled, faintly despite the agony. So close, I can feel the threshold. 3 disciples in despair. Around him, despair suffused the disciples. One fell to his knees, coughing blood. Another wept, realizing his meridians were destroyed by the storm. The so-called prodigies who had once mocked Tian now looked at him with wide, hollow eyes. How is he not collapsing? A broken genius whispered. Instead of faltering, Tian seemed to grow stronger with every passing breath. His sword intent thickened, his aura sharpened like a rising blade. 4. Second trial initiated, sword phantoms gather. The calm didn't last. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The phantom swords that had littered the ground suddenly rose into the air. Their edges shimmered with light as they condensed into humanoid forms, phantom swordsmen, each one radiating killing intent. Dozens of them emerged, encircling Tian. A cold voice resounded from the heavens. Second trial, defy the sword army. 5. First duel. The first phantom swordsman lunged, blade flashing with an elegant arc. Tian stepped forward, raising his battered weapon. His body screamed in protest, but his movements flowed with instinct. Clang. The 2 blades met. Sparks exploded. Tian's sword danced, tracing copied techniques he had stolen from the storm. The system chimed. Skill replication active. Tracking phantom sword pattern. Success, 89%. Added to database, silent wind cut. With each clash, his understanding grew sharper. He wasn't just fighting, he was learning. 6. Inner world tremors. But as he fought, Tian felt something deeper stirring within. His Danshan, the very foundation of his cultivation, began to quake violently. His spiritual sea rippled like a storm-tossed ocean. It was as though the countless sword strikes were chiseling away at his core, carving a new path. 7 system alert, cultivation bottleneck detected. Alert. Host's current cultivation realm, body refinement peak. Sword intent, surpassing vessel capacity. Bottleneck detected. Progression blocked unless breakthrough initiated. Tian's chest tightened. He understood immediately. His body could no longer contain the force of his intent. He was on the edge of transformation. 8. Sword intent fusion. The phantom sword cut again. Tian parried, and in that instant his meridians burned. Sword chi flowed into his veins, searing like molten steel. Instead of resisting, Tian guided it. His sword intent wove into his spirit energy, merging, fusing, until both became indistinguishable. Every strike he made wasn't just an attack. It was a refinement of his very being. 9. Breakthrough pressure. The pressure mounted. His body cracked. Literally, tiny fissures appeared on his skin, glowing faintly as if his flesh was glass about to shatter. Blood spurted, bones creaked. The disciples watching screamed in terror. He's going to explode. But Tian roared, refusing to yield. 10. Golden core manifestation. Inside his dantian, his spiritual sea churned violently. The once liquid essence of his spirit began to compress, spiraling faster and faster. Layers of sword chi wrapped around it, binding, refining, condensing. Thump, thump. At last, the chaos collapsed into brilliance. A radiant sphere formed, glowing gold, pulsing with infinite potential, a golden core. 11. System notifications. The system exploded with alerts. Ding, breakthrough achieved. Cultivation realm, golden core stage, initial. Sword intent, 62% advanced. Stat panel updated. Strength, plus 300%. Speed, plus 280%. Spirit, plus 350%. Endurance, plus 400%. Tian's aura erupted outward. 12. Sword Dao baptism. The phantom swords that had once sought to kill him suddenly froze. One by one, they lowered themselves, kneeling in the air as if paying homage. The sword Dao itself acknowledged his new realm. The disciples, still conscious, gaped, unable to believe their eyes. He forced the phantom swords to submit. 13. Golden core sword technique unlocked. Golden light gathered around Tian's blade. His system chimed once more. New ability unlocked. Golden core sword technique, heaven-severing slash. Description: a strike infused with condensed sword core energy. Tian exhaled slowly, his sword humming with power. 14. Realm response. The illusionary sword realm itself began to shift. The skis split open, revealing endless rivers of swords stretching into the horizon. The ground trembled as pillars of light rose, forming a colossal domain. A whisper echoed from the heavens. A new inheritor of the sword Dao has emerged. 15. Cliffhanger sword sovereign descends. The calm shattered as an overwhelming presence tore through the realm. From above, a colossal figure descended, far greater than the phantoms before. Its aura eclipsed the heavens, its sword intent suffocating. Clad in radiant armor, holding a blade that could divide worlds, the sword's sovereign phantom appeared. Its eyes burned with divine will as it raised its sword and spoke. Golden core, but can you withstand the Tao of a sovereign? The final trial had arrived. End of chapter 8.